Time for convening has arrived, so we will start this evening's series of meetings. We will start this evening with a ceremony. Over the last about 3 or 4 months, we've had a group of our citizens who've gone through the Sandy Springs Leadership Academy, a new program of the city to get our citizens more engaged with what goes on in this building and around town with all of the various city departments and operations, and give them a full, in-depth look at how this place operates. And so this is our inaugural graduating class. So what I'd like to do is, we passed out the diplomas at dinner. So everybody is now an official graduate. You can take your tassels and turn them now. But what I would like to do is get the class to come line up right here in front of the dais, and let's get a class photo and say thank you for taking the time to learn more about the community that you live in and being willing to be engaged and take on new roles going forward. So if the class will come forward. We'll have council stand up here, and we'll all have one big happy family picture. You know, there's one thing I can say without fear of contradiction. This is the best class we've ever had. Well, stick around. You'll see. Now you'll see the real part of what happens around here. Are there any council discussion items? Anybody have anything they wish to bring up? All right, then we will close our work session and say thank you to our graduates, and then we will move on to regular order. I would like to call this meeting of the Sandy Springs City Council to order for Tuesday, March the 19th, 2024. Will the city clerk please make the announcements and call the roll?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First, I would like to remind those in attendance to silence all cell phones and other electronic devices at this time. Individuals who would like to provide public comment at a city council meeting are required to complete and submit public comment cards in advance of the meeting. Public comment cards are available online at the chamber entrance. Those providing public comment may be allotted up to 3 minutes to speak on their single chosen topic. As I call roll, please confirm your attendance. Mayor Rusty Paul.
Present.
Councilmember John Paulson. Councilmember Melody Kelly. Present. Councilmember Melissa Mueller.
Present. I have a medical reason for not attending the meeting in person.
Councilmember Jody Rochelle. Councilmember Tibby DiGiulio. Councilmember Andy Bauman.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment cards?
Yes, we've received one public comment card this evening. Mr. Richard Wright, who's in house tonight.
Mr. Wright.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, citizens. My name is Richard Wright, and I am running for State Senate District 38 seat. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I want to introduce myself to the council, to the mayor, to citizens. I moved here in 1997 with my GED, and my mother told me that I needed to go to college. And so I said, I wasn't college material, but she ended up talking me into going to college. And after going to college, I ended up getting my 4-year degree. I ended up getting a master's, ended up becoming a CPA, and ended up going to Georgetown Law School. And so I am a product, I think, of hard work, and that's what I want to bring to the Georgia Senate. I wish I could turn around and talk to everybody. My economic agenda is just that it's one of development. I want to make sure that dollars come to the district, and I want to make sure that throughout the district we're prospering. And so remember the name, Richard Wright, running for Georgia State Senate seat 38. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Wright, thank you. As an alumnus of that institution, you're in for an exciting time. All right. Is there a motion to approve the meeting agenda?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. DiGiulio.
I move approval of the meeting agenda for Tuesday, March 19th, 2024, the first day of spring.
We have a motion by Mr. DiGiulio to spring the agenda. Was there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. DiGiulio, seconded by Mr. Paulson, that we approve the meeting agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. The question's on the meeting agenda. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed,
Aye.
no. The motion is approved. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor Paul.
Ms. Rochelle.
I move that we approve the consent agenda for Tuesday, March 19th, 2024, the first day of spring.
We have a motion by Ms. Rochelle to spring the consent agenda. Is there a second? This motion by Ms. Rochelle, seconded by Mr. Paulson, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. The question is on approval of the meeting agenda. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed, no. The meeting agenda the consent agenda is approved. Moving to public hearings, the clerk will please read the first item.
This is agenda item number 2024-060, the 2024 CDBG Annual Action Plan, presented by Planning and Zoning Manager Michelle McIntosh Ross.
Ms. McIntosh Ross.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Is this the clicker, or you'll move it? Okay. Yes, so I'm here. Let's go to the next one. Okay. So I'm here to announce the 30-day comment period for the 2024 Annual Action Plan, or the AAP. This is a component of the CDBG program, and no action is required this evening. The city is required to create and update its annual action plan, which is a summary of the annual activities for the use of the funds from the CDBG program. In early spring of 2023, the city adopted the 5-year consolidated plan, where it was recommended that the money would be used for sidewalk construction, design, utility, relocation, and potential right-of-way acquisition, as well as the potential to defease the 108 loan amount. This is a map of the Roswell Road multi-year sidewalk project. This runs along Roswell Road inside of 285 from Northwood Drive to Stewart Drive, and then from Stewart Drive to Long Island Drive. This is ongoing. This is the project that would follow. This is the Hope Road sidewalk project that is recommended for the north end. It's the orange line. It looks like a hockey stick on the map right there, starting at Roswell Road and going to Dunwoody Place. This is our schedule for the adoption of this annual action plan. The draft was completed last month and is available on the city's website. I'm here, as I mentioned, to notify you of the public comment period, and it's available for review and comment. After April 19th, which is the end of the 30-day comment period, we will take a look at any comments that are provided and make any pertinent changes to the document and bring that document back to you before May 14th. On the May 12th regular meeting, I'll be back with a final document seeking the request for adoption for the AAP. Again, no action required tonight. This is just a general comment to let people know they can go on the website.
All right. Thank you, Ms. McIntosh Ross. Do we have any public comment cards? All right, we'll close the public hearing, and then we'll move to new business. Will the clerk please read the first item?
This is agenda item number 2024-062. 061, excuse me. Consideration of a resolution to appoint Andrew Bauman to the City of Sandy Springs Development Authority, presented by Mayor Rusty Paul.
As I think council knows, on our development authority, we have one slot for a member of council. Last month we last meeting, we approved Mr. Paulson, who had been the city council representative to the development authority, for the board slot that the city has on the perimeter improvement district. That he, as required, resigned the next morning from the development authority, which creates the vacancy that we're attempting to appoint tonight. I am recommending to you that you approve your colleague, Andy Bauman, to the Development Authority Board. I think you all know him, his qualifications, his capabilities, and I concluded that I think he would be a very able and capable member of the Development Authority and would also be the City Council watchdog and representative on that body. Not that they need a lot of watching, but it's very important that we have somebody there to kind of represent the city's interest with this independent authority. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Paul.
Mr. Paulson.
I move approval of agenda item 2024-061, resolution to appoint Andrew Bauman to the City of Sandy Springs Development Authority Board.
We have a motion by Mr. Paulson. Is there a second? Been moved by Mr. Paulson, seconded by Mr. DiGiulio, that we appoint Mr. Bauman as the City Council representative on the Sandy Springs Development Authority. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Paul,
Mr. Bauman.
I just want to pose a question to Mr. Lee. Same question we had last time about, just so we can get on the record, about recusal. I have no financial interest in this, but just wanted to run that by you and get your opinion.
As far as you being on it or voting?
No, about recusing on this vote.
Somebody famous, more famous than me, said this poor guy won't vote for himself. And I back that up. There's no reason that you can't vote for yourself.
And we can't abstain, so.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you didn't think you belonged, you should have told me before now. I understand. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. The question is on the approval of Andrew Bauman to the City of Sandy Springs Development Authority. All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, no. The item is approved. The clerk will please read the next item.
Agenda item number 2024-062. This is consideration of a resolution to approve the City of Sandy Springs application to the Georgia Department of Transportation Local Administered Project Certification in order to fully approve the City of Sandy Springs procurement status and to authorize the mayor to execute the application on behalf of the city. Presented by Public Works Director Marty Martin.
Mr. Martin.
Mayor and Council, good evening. Tonight I bring before you a recommendation that the mayor be authorized to sign the attached or the provided letter of agreement between the Georgia Department of Transportation and the City of Sandy Springs as it relates to transition in the city's current local administered project certification status from conditional to full approval. A little background to certification on our status. On August 28, 2022, the city submitted its application for recertification, as in we've been certified for a few rounds now, as a local public agency under GDOT's LAP program in the interest of administering projects using federal aid highway program funds. On April 18th of 2023, the city finally did receive conditional status from GDOT for local administered projects, where the city had previously held full LAP approval status in prior recertification cycles. Many other local governments this time around also received that same conditional status, vice the full LAP status. Specifically to this particular recertification status or cycle, this LAP recertification cycle, GDOT announced more stringent policy regarding engineering and design procurement, with particular focus on the use of the Georgia Department of Transportation procurement policy for the procurement, management, administration of engineering services, as well as an interest in seeing that sufficient staff were trained in this procurement policy by GDOT in the interest of being able to properly administer engineering procurements. To that end, the city updated its purchasing policy on August 16, 2022, council approving a resolution therein on that night, that we would adopt the Georgia Department of Transportation procurement policy for procurement, management, and administration of engineering and design-related consultant services. The city also ramped up its staff attendance in this particular course, training staff on engineering and design procurement services. We currently have some 10 full-time staff on our staff able to run and administer a GDOT policy-based procurement. So with that, with entering into the LOA, the city would seek and hopefully obtain full LAP certification status instead of the conditional status remain in thus far. With that, we recommend that Mayor and Council approve the enter into the LOA.
All right, you've heard the report of the Public Works Director. What's the desire of council?
Mayor Paul?
Dr. Kelly.
I move approval of agenda item
2024-062.
Approval of the City of Sandy Springs' application to the Georgia Department of Transportation Local Administered Projects Certification. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. We've got a motion by Dr. Kelly. Is there a second? Motion by Dr. Kelly, seconded by Ms. Rochelle, that we approve agenda item 2024-062, a resolution approving the City of Sandy Springs application to the Georgia Department of Transportation Local Administered Project Certification in order to fully approve the City of Sandy Springs procurement status. Is there any discussion?
I have one question.
Dr. Kelly.
You may have mentioned this already. Is this going to be an annual event?
In this case, it's a 3-year certification cycle.
Okay.
So with this certification we receive, we'll again apply in another 3 years. In the meantime, the courses as well, your attendance and successful completion of the courses, all those staff members that are required to attend the courses, also last for a period of 3 years. So it's a part of maintaining a currency with GDOT policy on a number of different topics pertinent to handling, administering, and delivering projects under federal rules associated with the federal aid highway program funds.
Thank you.
Mr. Paulson. Marty, this is not germane to this issue, but now's a good time to bring it up. Have we heard from GDOT about when they're going to finish the Mount Vernon Bridge?
Bridge over 285.
Right. The one that got wiped out.
Okay. So we have heard when, as per an update just a week ago, when they intend to open the bridge back to traffic. And that is, Kristen, help me if I'm wrong here, I believe we heard April of this month. So within a month, we expect to see the bridge open to traffic, or thereabouts. They gave themselves a little bit of latitude with the month of April. I don't think it's going to be early April based on what's going on out there right this minute. But we did hear April. They didn't change that forecast in the update we heard last week.
Okay. So it's not going to be an April Fool's opening. It'll probably be something else.
No, sir. That's probably no.
All right. Okay. I just felt we needed to kind of get an update on that. Any other questions about this item? All right, hearing none, we'll call the question. The question's on agenda item 2024-062, approving the City of Sandy Springs application to the Georgia Department of Transportation Local Administered Project Certification in order to fully approve the City of Sandy Springs procurement status. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Aye.
The item is approved. The clerk will please read the next item.
Agenda item number 2024-063. This is consideration to approve and sign the list of roadways approved by the Georgia Department of Transportation for speed limit changes. Presented by Public Works Director Marty Martin.
Mr. Martin.
Mayor and Council, in this case, we recommend that Council approve your signature on the attached list of roadways as it relates to the city's speed detection device permit. GDOT periodically updates the list of roadways biannually, as a matter of fact, considering modifications as requested by the city. The State Department of Public Safety is a repository for all the roads in the state that have been approved for radar speed enforcement. After approval, the City Council and signature of the mayor, GDOT then sends the list to the Department of Public Safety for inclusion on the master radar permit. So the information on this list of roadways directly correlates to our ability to enforce by radar speed in the City of Sandy Springs. The proposed list of roads, list number 1, 2024-01, approved by GDOT, includes speed limit reductions on 3 roads, as recommended by staff for this speed limit, this particular list of roadways. For Abernathy Road, transition into Perimeter Center West, from Peachtree Dunwoody Road to the DeKalb County line, current speed limit is 45 miles per hour. Recommendation is that the new speed limit be 35 miles per hour. On Johnson Ferry Road, 2 different segments of Johnson Ferry Road. First, Roswell Road to Sandy Springs Circle, immediately to the side of City Hall here. Current speed limit approved is 35 miles per hour. The new speed limit would be 30 miles per hour. Johnson Ferry Road from Sandy Springs Circle on to Abernathy Road. Current speed limit is posted and listed as 35 miles per hour. New speed limit would be proposed as 30 miles per hour. In addition to the 3 speed limit changes identified in the list of roadways, there are a number of corrections in the master list of roadways that Sandy Springs identifies to GDOT with this list update. Among those, Central Park West was renamed to Central Parkway due to realignment of an intersection. Central Parkway was renamed to Central Park Drive because Central Parkway now continues through former Central Park West to West Peachtree Dunwoody Road. The Herds Ferry Road entry was revised to remove Herds Ferry Elementary School, which moved to Powers Ferry Road. Herds Road was renamed Raider Drive. The Donnellan School on Long Island Drive changed names to Holy Spirit Prep School. Brandon Mill Road was renamed to Adair Lane between Grogan's Ferry Road and Morgan Falls Road, and Colonel Drive was renamed to Pride Place. As you can tell by some of these roadway name changes, staff looked through this list of roadways in this cycle with a fairly fine-tooth comb and caught some changes that should have been caught and updated several years ago. For instance, in the case of Brandon Mill Road, that's an old plat reference to what is now Adair Lane, once being called or being named Brandon Mill Road, that's now finally caught up with the updates required. So GDOT will transmit these changes once approved, but to the Department of Public Safety, and the changes will become effective when certified by DPS.
All right, you've heard the report of the Public Works Director. What's the desire of council?
Mayor Plow.
Ms. Rochelle.
I move that we approve agenda item 2024-063, consideration to approve and sign the list of roadways approved by Georgia Department of Transportation for speed limit changes.
We have a motion by Ms. Rochelle. Is there a second? Moved by Ms. Rochelle, seconded by Mr. Paulson, that we approve agenda item 2024-063, the sign and the list of roadways approved by the Georgia Department of Transportation for speed limit changes. Any discussion? Ms. Rochelle.
I have a question about the name changes because North Springs brought this up to me last week that when they have their new school, they want to change the name. some of the roads over there going into the school. Is that something that goes through us, or is that something that goes through GDOT?
Kristen, could I ask your help with this one? I believe it starts, Councilwoman, and Kristen will correct me. It starts with a name change as administered by our community development.
Correct, that is correct.
So,
So
with that,
for public streets that are local streets, community development has a process for reviewing that and notification, and it comes back to y'all for that approval.
So they should get in
then we
contact
would
with
submit it in the
Okay.
future for that change.
So they should get in contact with you first.
Community development, Ginger and her group.
And then as far as the speed limit changes, I guess we'll be putting up new speed limit signs pretty soon?
Correct.
Okay.
Once this gets approved and sent back to GDOT.
Thank you.
We'll fix the signs.
Any other discussion? Mr. Paulson?
Thank you, Mayor. So, Marty, the first one, which I go back to the previous page, we're reducing the speed limit from on Abernathy Road, Perimeter Center West. We're reducing it to the DeKalb County line. What happens when you cross the DeKalb County line? Does it
it's
jump
the
back
same.
up?
It's the same speed limit there.
Okay, so we're dropping down to be
We're
consistent
dropping down
with
to be
okay.
consistent with them. There's some other there's other methodology involved in this as well. There's a software, US Limits 2, that models several roadway characteristics to recommend a speed for a particular section of roadway. So that corollary effort has happened as well, but it will match the DeKalb side of the line in terms of speed limit.
Okay.
along that roadway
My concern
section.
was we drop it from 45 to 35 for a quarter of a mile, and then it goes back up to 45. That
Yes, sir.
doesn't seem fair to me, but
Right. In
that's
this
not
case,
what we're doing
it
here.
really fixes a long-standing
perfect.
challenge over there.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I have a question.
Dr. Kelly?
Looking at the seven corrections, some of these seem pretty old. Because this is
Quite old. They were missed in previous review
Okay.
cycles. So, yes, ma'am. Particularly like the Brandon Mill Road change. That's
Right.
been a dare lane for a long time.
right. So the way this process works, we'll make a change, and then we'll pass that information along to them,
Right.
and then
then
they're
it'll get
supposed
updated
to.
in the master database ultimately. Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
Okay, but these somehow were missed. If I wanted to sort of proactively see if they're what they have or what they have listed, if I'm curious about a particular street name in their records, how would I go about that?
So the master list is within the packet. So this is the database with our updates proposed that GDOT maintains. So they sent us the information from their database.
I guess let me rephrase that. If I was as a member of the public, I guess
Right.
other than this, is there any way to directly see that if I wanted to know with GDOT?
Okay, so Kristen, I'm
But
going
I
to ask
guess
you.
not.
But I don't know how easy to access the database is at GDOT.
Georgia DOT does maintain a roadway characteristics database for all counties in the state and all cities. Pretty complex, they give actually city streets numbers and everything, so it would have to be a request to GDOT, but
Okay.
Somehow over time, I'm not sure if these changes had been relayed before and just didn't get corrected in the subsequent lists, but
Okay.
it started with we were putting all the school zones in our GIS, so we knew where the signs were that were related to those school zones, because most school zones have a reduction in speed at most school zones, and that's an enforceable speed, right? So, and when we were doing that, I was like, oh, well, that's wrong. School name change is wrong, and then it just sort of prompted a more thorough investigation.
But it doesn't really seem to cause any type of complication,
I guess
suppose.
at the end of the day, if you were someone, this is ultimately used by police for enforcement, and so this is the official roadway list and the speeds that they can use once it comes back to the police from the Department of Public Safety. So if there are errors on the list, then I would think that there could be a challenge to that enforcement, right? So I wasn't on that street. That street's not in your list. You can't give me a ticket, kind of thing. It sort of rolls. You really want to have all the data being correct.
Okay, so now I'm worried again. Thank you.
All right. No, so
Just to clarify this, the people that live on these streets, do they have to change their addresses now?
no, sir. The city postal recognizes the street name as what
So
the
we're
street
updating
name
the
is.
The sign-
This master enforcement list that doesn't
The
recognize it
signs
way.
that are on the streets are accurate. The database was what's wrong.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So we face much, a bit hesitant to answer or trying to address your question, Dr. Kelly, on how do I go check with the state. We go through an annual cycle, for instance, with the state on updating the roads in our LMIG eligible list. Mayor, you see that call letter, it comes every single year. They give us the contacts, we give them our contacts, the state and GDOT. And it's still a little bit of a wrangle to get the data back and forth and have everyone agree, yeah, we've got the same data now. Anyhow, we had the list provided by GDOT. We said, GDOT, please update the list for their purposes and enforcement here. That's how we know in this case.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. The question is on agenda item 2024-062, a resolution approving the City of Sandy Springs, wrong one, 2024-063, approve and sign the list of roadways approved by Georgia Department of Transportation for speed limit changes. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Aye.
The item is approved. The clerk will please read the next item.
Agenda item number 2024-064. This is consideration of a resolution to approve a contract award to Murph's Surf River Adventures LLC for canoe, kayak, and paddleboard operations and rentals at Morgan Falls Overlook Park, and to authorize the city manager to execute the contract, presented by Recreation and Parks Director Brent Walker.
Mr. Walker.
Evening, Mayor and Council. The city issued RFP 24-034 for canoe, kayak, and paddleboard operations and rentals at Morgan Falls Overlook Park on December 27th. Bid proposals were due on January 31st. We received two proposals, one from Murph's Surf River Adventures LLC and one from Shoot the Hooch LLC. The procurement was conducted using the performance price trade-off process as described in the RFP. Staff evaluated the proposals based on three performance criteria: capabilities and approaches, performance confidence, and cost price proposal. While both vendors showed a level of acceptance in their capabilities and approaches and cost price proposal, Murph's Surf River Adventures scored a higher ranking of substantial in performance confidence over Shoot the Hooch, who scored as satisfactory. This is due to Murph's Surf having current agreements with other government agencies, each giving them high praise for their performance. Shoot the Hooch did not provide any current references or contracts that were limited in similar government experience. Based on the assessment, staff recommends that the proposal submitted by Murph's Surf River Adventures LLC represents the best value for the city and requests council approve a contract to them as it relates to RFP 24-034. Murph's Surf has agreed to pay the city a flat rate of $20,100 plus 10% of gross profit per year, a total of $100,500 per over the 5-year term of the contract. The term of this contract will be for a 5-year performance year with a 1-year base and 4 1-year renewals. The contract will terminate at the close of each fiscal year, but will automatically renew absent any positive action by the city. With that, I'll open it to you.
You've heard the report of the Director of Recreation and Parks. What's the desire of council?
Mayor Paul.
Dr. Kelly.
I move approval of agenda item 2024-064, a contract award to Murph's Surf River Adventures LLC for canoe, kayak, and paddleboard operations and rentals at Morgan Falls Overlook Park.
I have a motion by Dr. Kelly. Is there a second? A motion by Dr. Kelly, seconded by Ms. Rochelle, that we approve agenda item 2024-064, a resolution approving a contract award to Murph's Surf River Adventures for canoe, kayak, paddleboard operations and rentals at Morgan's Falls. Any discussion? Dr. Kelly.
Mr. Walker, the three criteria, they are essentially, they're equally weighted.
That's
to
correct.
the. Okay. Thank you.
Any other? Mr. Bauman.
Mayor Paul, thank you. I'm Brent. Thank you very much. And I really just sort of want to say this. Murph's Surf River Adventures. Where else are they? You mentioned they've been in other locations. Just sort of curious where they are and what happened with the current group.
Unfortunately, the current vendor decided to concentrate on their retail store and didn't want to continue the day-to-day operations of the paddle shack.
So to be clear, it was a business model change for them?
Correct.
Okay.
And then Murph's Surf, I'll just leave it at that. River Ventures, they have current agreements with City of Canton, Cherokee County Chamber of Commerce, Cherokee County Recreation and Parks, and also with City of Woodstock Parks and Recreation.
Let me ask this question. In terms of, do we have any say on their pricing? I mean, we were giving them a monopoly over there, effectively. I mean, people can come bring their own equipment.
Sure.
What role do we have in there, with this being a fairly long-term agreement, what role do we have in, the pricing, review, and delivery of service with a new vendor?
Sure. So they submitted their pricing as part of the RFP process, so we were able to evaluate that as part of the deliverable. Fortunately, both vendors were well within the limits of what we're currently charging, so we didn't see anyone gouging or underpricing, as well within the market norm.
Do they have free reign to adjust that pricing, or do they have to come through to us under the agreement?
There's nothing in the contract that would keep them from changing the pricing. I think the market would probably dictate it more. If they're overpricing, people are going to find somewhere else to get on the river.
Okay. Well, I guess if it's an issue, you'll let us know.
Absolutely.
I have one more question, but I'll wait.
All right, anybody else? Dr. Kelly.
Okay. One more question. Our current provider, do you have, and you probably don't, I can follow up, do you know how much we were getting annually from them?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, I'm just wondering how these
I can get that
numbers
information
compare.
for you.
Okay, because it looks like you all said that one of the numbers was less realistic than the other. So clearly there's some kind of benchmark or something that we're using.
I can
to
get
determine.
that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. The question's on agenda item 2024-064, a resolution to approve a contract award to Murph Surf River Adventures for canoe, kayak, paddleboard operations and rentals at Morgan Falls Overlook Park. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed,
Aye.
no. The item is approved. The clerk will please read the next item.
Agenda item number 2024-065, consideration of a resolution to approve change order number 4 to amend the existing contract for construction services with JHC Corporation to construct the Morgan Falls Connector Trail 2A project, and to authorize the city manager to execute the change order. Presented by Director of Recreation and Parks, Brent Walker.
Mr. Walker.
Okay, so construction of the boardwalk over Orkin Lake for Trail 2A began to experience challenges this past July, when rock was encountered during the drilling process to install the piers. These conditions continue to be prevalent and have slowed the construction. To help address the issues of the boardwalk drilling depth, the contractor has deployed the use of specialized drilling attachments and pumps to lower the lake level. As part of the ongoing construction of the project, the city has asked JHC, the contractor, to provide additional services pursuant to change order number 4 that are outside of the original scope of work. Elements of this change order include the continued top-down drilling method to complete the boardwalk, continued use of generators and pumps to lower the lake level, construction of additional parking at the Morgan Falls River Park for the dog park, and unit pricing for unsuitable soil conditions where a retaining wall is planned. The total proposed increase for the change order number 4 is $549,618.05. The revised contract amount is therefore $8,880,777.08. Sufficient funding for the change order number 4 is available in the capital project budget. The extra contract days associated with the 3 prior change orders and the current proposed change order number 4 will move the expected conclusion of the project to December 31st, 2024. The proposed change order and timeline extension are based on worst-case scenario. If more favorable drilling conditions are found, the cost of the installation of the piers will return to the original contract sum, and the cost of the boardwalk will decrease. Staff will continue to work with the contractor to expedite the project and to cut costs where possible. As of today, we're at 1,906 feet of 2,933 feet of boardwalk over the water, so 65%. With that, I'll open it to any questions you have.
All right, you've heard the report of the Director of Recreation and Parks. What's the desire of council?
Mayor Paul,
Dr. Kelly.
I move approval of agenda item 2024-065. This is going to be change order number 4 to amend the existing contract for construction services with JHC Corporation to construct the Morgan Falls Connector Trail 2A project.
Motion by Dr. Kelly. Is there a second? Been moved by Dr. Kelly, seconded by Ms. Rochelle, that we approve agenda item 2024-065, a resolution approving change order number 4 to amend the existing contract for construction services with JHC Corporation for the construction of the Morgan Falls Connector Trail. Any discussion? Dr. Kelly.
2 questions. One, I just want to confirm in the meeting, we are still in budget with this.
That's correct.
this
There's
project.
$9 million allocated for the project.
And you mentioned the number reflecting a worst-case scenario. Does the December 31st date also is more like a worst case?
Yes, ma'am.
It could be earlier.
Yes, ma'am. It
All
very
right.
well could be.
Okay, one more question. Is any part of this trail open right now? I had an interesting conversation yesterday with someone. So
Yes, but not officially. There are sections that are in use by many of the apartment residents in the area that are utilizing it.
So that is my answer if I'm asked. Not officially.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Mr. Bauman.
Thank you, Brent. Are there any, we've run into a lot of obstacles here, and I know we've talked about lessons learned because we're really on the front end of our master trail plan for the city.
Sure.
But related to this project, just to grasp for a question of known unknowns, what are the risk areas in this project, or have we sort of reached what we think we know the risks are at this point? You don't have any reasonable expectation of something else coming up, do you?
I do not. In conversation with the contractor, we think we have covered all of our bases. We have made sure that they have additional equipment in place, or be able to get additional equipment if something were to malfunction, to stay on the timeline. We are exploring other options, too, in terms of materials and construction after the piers are built, to see if we can expedite the timeline. But we feel very comfortable knowing what we know is all we need to know for now.
So the known knowns are okay.
That's right.
And the unknowns, unknown knowns are okay. It's the unknown unknowns we always worry about.
Yes.
Is there remain any contingency in the $8,880,000, or at this point of the project have we tapped that all? So any additional money that comes up is going to be in a change order. What's left in contingency, either in this change order in the project?
There's roughly around $200,000 left in the project budget after this that we have not tapped.
That was how much we allocated. The project budget's now $8,880,000.
Correct. I'm
right?
sorry. Yes.
So within that, is there still some contingency? And don't answer if you don't know.
So the price that we have is currently based on the amounts as part of the change order. We expect, as we move forward, that the worst case scenario is not what we're going to see.
Well, I think you've built in some contingency in your expectations, particularly on the hour. Okay.
Correct.
All right. I think I have my answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Mr. Walker, I know you didn't start this project. It fell into your lap when you showed up over here. I hope you still want to work here.
It's a good project. It really is. It's going to be a phenomenal asset to the city when it's done.
Well, it's been a challenge.
Yes,
We ran into some rock formations that we didn't, the engineering work on the front end didn't uncover. And the question is the contractor now making reasonable progress in drilling through this rock that we've uncovered?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
With new technology, new equipment?
Yeah. So what they did is they created a new drill attachment for this project that acts like a rock hammer. Instead of just an auger turning, it has an air compressor that hammers the rock as it's drilling, which necessitates a lake being pumped down so that the material's not falling back into the hole from the vibration. So there's a lot of weather issues that we've run into over the past few months, and then, of course, just getting that equipment here.
Right. You pump the lake down, it rains, it fills back up, right?
That's correct, quickly.
Mr. DiGiulio.
Brent, I do have one question. You know the whole master plan, trail plan, et cetera. Is this the most difficult portion of the entire plan, or do we have any place else where we're going to have this kind of a problem completing the trail?
From my understanding, everything else, and Pete Pellegrini from Path Foundation is here too, and he is very in tune with the entire plan. But from what I know, we're not putting a boardwalk over a lake again. So whatever condition we find will be easier to get to because it won't be underwater.
Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll call the question. The question's on agenda item 2024-065, a resolution approving change order number 4 to amend the existing contract for construction services with JHC Corporation to construct the Morgan Falls Connector Trail 2A project and authorizing the city manager to execute the change order. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The item is approved. The clerk will please read the next item.
Agenda item number 2024-066, consideration of a resolution to accept the Building Opportunities and Out-of-School Time grant from the Georgia Environmental Protection Division, Georgia Recreation and Parks Association, and enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Georgia Recreation and Park Association, Inc. to accomplish this purchase, presented by Recreation and Parks Program Coordinator Jane Jarrett.
Ms. Jarrett.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm hoping that you will accept the Building Opportunities for Out-of-School Time grant from the Georgia Recreation and Parks Association for the amount of $12,500. So this is a reimbursable grant. No matching funds are needed. It's for the summer camp, so June through July period this year. We did this last year as well. To recap, last year we got $2,650, so we've increased the amount, and I'm also going to increase the campers this year. So last year we had 30 campers, and this year I'm hoping to do 60 campers.
All right, you've heard the report of the Coordinator of Recreation and Parks. What's the desire of council?
Mayor Paul.
Ms. Rochelle.
I move that we approve agenda item 2024-066, a resolution to accept the Building Opportunities and in out of school time grant from the Georgia Environmental Protection Division, Georgia Recreation and Parks Association.
I have a motion by Ms. Rochelle. Is there a second? Motion by Ms. Rochelle, seconded by Mr. DiGiulio, that we approve agenda item 2024-066, a resolution to accept the Building Opportunities in Out-of-School Time grant from the Georgia Environmental Protection Division, Georgia Recreation and Parks Association. Any discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Rochelle.
Jane, I'm glad that you're here tonight because really I want to congratulate you and recognize you for being recognized in the People magazine article and for the Superstar Prom that you did and just reading about it and the amazing work that you do here in Sandy Springs. I just can't thank you enough for what you do.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was a great article for the city of Sandy Springs. Thank you. Mr. DiGiulio.
Jay, could you give us a little bit of an overview of what we do for these children?
Yes, so with this grant, we're encouraging more education to occur during the out-of-school time. So during the summertime, a lot of learning is lost. So with these funds, we're going to continue that education through the summer. And with this money, we're going to go on field trips. We're going to have on-site facilitators as well. And that is the whole agreement that we have with Georgia Recreation and Parks Association.
Any other discussion? Dr. Kelly.
So we requested $12,500.
Yes.
Okay. One other question. If I was nosy and I wanted to see what other cities might be getting, is that easy to find? I'm trying to look it up, and I wanted to
would have to find out.
Oh, okay. I'm just
Yes.
curious. Sometimes with these grants, you can very easily check that out, but I can't. It's not easy for me.
No,
for some
yeah,
reason.
they didn't release that in the information
Oh, they
that I
did?
had.
Okay.
No.
I'm just curious. But thank you and congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Mayor Paul.
Mr. Baumann.
Echoing the comments from Jody, and that program was oversold, wasn't it? I mean, we had a waiting list,
We did.
and hopefully we maybe look for ways to accommodate more next year.
Yes, absolutely.
So on this program, do you expect this to sell out at or be
For
over?
summer camp?
Yeah, I mean, do we expect that we will have to turn?
Most
Could we
likely,
accommodate
yes.
more than 60, but for the money? I mean,
One of my constraints with summer camp is facility space.
okay, but you're going to. I mean, in this case, you're going to a bunch of different facilities, aren't you?
Right, but we have one central hub, so this year I'm going to be using Heritage in order to operate out of.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Jane: is 60 the max that you can do physically?
Yes.
Okay, you can't. So it's not a question of. I mean, because this council could add to this if it could serve more kids, we could pay for that. Right, but
Right.
that's not a question of money.
Right.
It's physical capacity.
It's physical capacity.
Okay, because I guess I just want to make sure, and I'm sure we all, that we're maxing out.
Yes.
If the demand would be greater than the capacity, let's try to fill the demand as. Anyway, we look for alternatives or opportunities to fill the demand if we can backfill, because this is a great program.
Thank
that
you,
we do.
yes.
Okay, so you'd come talk to your supervisor and
Oh.
if there's a way to do more, Kristen, and, okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. The question's on agenda item 2024-066, a resolution accepting the building opportunities and out-of-school time grant from the Georgia Environmental Protection Division, Georgia Recreation and Parks Association. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Aye.
The item is approved. Moving to reports.
Thank you.
Before you go, are you in charge of the dino egg hunt?
Yes, yeah, that's Dino Egg Hunt is me.
All right, I need you to talk about that and tell everybody about that detail, what your next big project is.
Yeah, so this past weekend we had Dino Egg Hunt. It was for people with disabilities. We had a fossil dig. We had our dinosaur eggs that were custom stuffed with collectible dinosaurs. They had candy. They had toys in them as well. And then we had our famous blue dinosaur that came out. He's our prehistoric guest that people get to interact with as well. It was a huge hit. We had over 170 people there to come and have this full-on paleontologist event. So coming up next, we're going to have our Mother-Son Dance, and we also have National Kids to Parks Day. Mother-Son Dance takes place here at City Hall, and then National Kids to Parks Day is at Hammond Park, and those will happen in May.
Well, thank you for doing all that. I think your dinosaur got a police escort, right?
I heard he's our new canine.
Running around sniffing. Okay. Thanks, Jane. Thank you for all you do in that regard. We really appreciate it and love the programs that are going on. We're now down to mayor and council reports. In the last couple of weeks, Sandy Springs has become the city of champions. We have three teams that were based in Sandy Springs that were in the state championship basketball games. Riverwood won. Mount Vernon Presbyterian won. Holy Innocents came up a few points short, but we're still very proud of them. And then we have a lot of kids in Sandy Springs who attend Marist. And their basketball team and swim team won the state championship. So this Thursday at 2 p.m., right out here on City Green, we're going to hold our version of a championship parade and ceremony to recognize these champions who've brought a tremendous amount of attention, positive attention, and represented our city beautifully. And we want to recognize them and thank them for their hard work in getting to that. So we hope we'll have a nice crowd out there. I know we've been working with the schools. Somebody asked, well, won't schools still be in session at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? The schools are the ones who pick the time. So we're working with them within their schedule. So I hope everybody will come out and be part of that. That's a magnificent, I don't know any city anywhere in the state of Georgia who had that kind of showing in state championships of any type. And so we're very proud of these young men and women for their role in truly becoming champions in making Sandy Springs a city of champions. This coming Saturday, I know St. Patrick's Day was Sunday. We have extended St. Patrick's Day for the whole week, and we will conclude St. Patrick's Day on the City Green this Saturday with our Irish festival. We'll have the Consul General of Ireland, and a lot of the Hibernians will be out here. We've got a great festival. I'll be singing the national anthem, hopefully a little bit better than I did Saturday. I was having to breathe. Pollen's already getting to me. So, but anyway, it's going to be an exciting time. Please come out and join on St. Patrick's Day. Everybody's Irish, and if you checked your heritage, probably most everybody in this room has some Irish heritage. So come out and celebrate with that. We talked about the Dino Egg Hunt and what a great event that was, and all the other things that are coming up. So that's what I've got. Anybody else, Mr. Paulson?
Thank you, Mayor Paul. You made mention of it, but I will mention it again. Morgan Falls Park opening day was on Saturday, and they did the smart thing this time. They brought a professional pitcher in to throw the first pitch, which he didn't bounce it in like some people.
Paulson and I have been bowling the last 2 years trying to get over home plate.
And they told me there's over 1,000 kids participating.
Yeah, but now Dr. Kelly had the strong arm last year.
Right.
She got it over the plate while you and I were bowling. So
that's because of her. They brought a pro in. So there you go. Anyway, it was fantastic and great attendance.
Mayor Paul.
Mr. Baumann.
Let me just add, he threw out 2 first pitches, and he threw a softball pitch to start. He did bounce that in, and the comment from behind me in the crowd was, "It's harder than it looks," and it sure is. Fast pitch softball.
Spoken like a real softball player.
It was a really great opening, and you gutted it out. But if you want to see what Sandy Springs looks like, come out to Morgan Falls. It's families from all backgrounds, and this was a great day.
And those facilities have gotten,
I
want to say thanks to the Parks and Recreation, those facilities have gotten better every year. You've taken the resources that we provided and done a phenomenal job. Everybody's raving about the quality of the fields and everything. And so it's a far cry from what it was just 8 to 10 years ago. And I think they said, 1,200 kids? 1,000 kids? So great participation out there, and so we're absolutely delighted, and thanks to the Parks and Recreation for working with them, and Sandy Springs Youth Sports. They provide all of the labor and the volunteers and the coaches and everything else, and they do a phenomenal job. They threatened a couple of kids with having me coach, and they said, no, we think we can do better than that. So, and I couldn't agree with them more. Any others? Dr. Kelly?
I just so I'm echoing what you all said about the youth sports opening day. I also want to mention the chamber lunch that was yesterday, and I'm only mentioning that because I'm never able to attend chamber lunches, and I genuinely enjoyed yesterday's lunch. We heard from the president of Kennesaw State University. I personally appreciated that perspective, and also, Clarissa's not in the audience, but congratulations to her for winning the receiving her flowers, as I like to say, yesterday as I think it's the Woman of Distinction Award. She's in really awesome company in terms of just previous winners. Also, on that note, last week I was able to attend the American Korean Friendship Society banquet, which happens annually. And I'm only bringing that up because I truly enjoy it every year. It's led by one of our Development Authority members, Sunny Park, I believe. Yeah, and it's just always a great room to be in, honoring different members of our society. So, thank you.
Yeah, they had a record attendance over 400 people at the Westin Hotel for the American Korean Association, and it's a lot of dignitaries there from the Consular Corps and so on, and our Korean diaspora. It was a great event, and so thanks for reminding me that I was there. Any others? All right, with that, Ms. Carlisle, talk to us about the money.
Good evening, Mayor Paul and Council. This is the review of your January 2024 unaudited financials. We are at 58.33% of the budget year. Revenues are at 77.12%, and expenditures are at 37.95% of the budget. We're 7 months into the fiscal year, and we continue to receive revenues as expected in the various categories, reaching or nearing 100% of budget. We're now in the business license renewal season and expect the business occupational revenues line to increase in March and April's timeframe. As of this report date, departmental expenditures are trending between 24 and 62%. Departments are managing budgets as expected. This concludes the report for our January 2024 financials.
Any questions about the financials? Mr. Baumann.
Just my monthly question, where are we on investment income and compared to budget? Do you have that?
Investment,
Interest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as of this report, we budgeted $3 million for interest, and we're at $4,881,000.
So we budgeted three. These are the year to date.
Yes.
$3 million budget, and we're at $4.8 million. Okay.
Yes.
Any others? Ms. Rochelle.
How do we know when we've received all of our property taxes? Do we know that?
Property taxes are ongoing. So right now we're receiving $20,000, $30,000 payments. The late payers are coming in right now, but we'll continuously receive property tax payments throughout the year. In October, we receive a reconciliation showing the listing of those who have not paid. Not the names, but the amounts.
Right.
So it's ongoing.
Thank you.
Was we all know Fulton County got hacked, and they were not able to accept property tax payments until this week. So they've been down for about 3 weeks, so that's going to impact collections and transmission of those taxes to us until they get their systems back up, correct?
We had some delay, but we've been receiving property taxes. So the bulk of our property taxes come in November.
Right.
So what we're receiving now are the late payers. But we missed maybe 2 weeks of payments, but they've been continuing since the hacking.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right. Thank you, Ms. Carlisle. We need an executive session for the purposes of litigation and real estate. Is there a motion to suspend regular order?
Mayor Paul,
Mr. Paulson.
I move that we suspend regular order and move into executive session for the purposes of litigation and real estate.
I have a motion by Mr. Paulson. Is there a second? Motion by Mr. Paulson, seconded by Mr. DiGiulio, that we suspend regular order and go into executive session for the purposes of litigation and real estate. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. The question's on the executive session. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed, no.
Aye.
We are in executive session. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be all the business we will conduct this evening. We will go into executive session, simply come back here in the executive session and adjourn for the evening. Thank you to the best class ever in Sandy Springs Leadership Academy.